Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Marketing Wednesdays. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 best ways to increase your email open rate. So, last week, we actually spoke about the power of leveraging email marketing inside of your business to help you nurture your leads, your appointments, your consults, right? So that when they come in, they're already pre-sold, and how you can be using that, the best tactics and formulas that you can implement, right? Now, none of that matters if you can't get people to open your email, right? And so today, we're going to talk about those 5 things to get more people to open your email, so you can get more, so you can continue to grow your business, right? So let's go into number 1, which is going to be keeping it fresh. Okay, I'm specifically talking about your email list, right? It is very important to keep your email list up to date. Now, the reason I say this is because whenever you start doing email marketing, you're going to start noticing that um, some people might not open the emails, different things like that, or maybe some emails bounce. So this is what I mean by keeping it fresh, right? So you want to be continuously removing bad emails, right? People that don't open the emails or the emails bounce. And then you want to keep adding new emails into that as well. As new patients start coming in, you want to start adding those emails to that list, right? And so the general concept when it comes to this is that it is great if you have a very large email list, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is to have a small and clean email list, because that will also ultimately influence the open rates and then deliverability of your emails as well. So if your emails are bouncing, work to update those and remove those, so ultimately you keep that list as fresh as possible of only good emails. Okay, so that's going to help you increase the deliverability of your email and ultimately the open rate as well, right? Number 2 is going to be to avoid the spam folder, right? And there's different ways that you can do this to try to make sure that you don't end up in spam, because that's the worst thing when you're trying to obviously put all this time and effort into sending out these emails, but then those emails get lost in the spam folder, right? So even if you don't spam, your email can ultimately end up in the spam folder. So one of the things to consider is frequency, right? So maybe you don't have to send out an email every single day. Um, a good starting point is an email a week, right? And then you can just start, or if you need to do less to make that manageable, then do less, right? But keep a consistent, choose I guess the consistency you want to have with it, and then make sure that you obviously keep doing it, right? So you don't have to do it every day. You can do it once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, but just do something and then stick with it and then keep doing it, okay? That's also going to help as well. Now, you might also want to personalize the emails. Personalized emails are less likely to end up in the spam folder. So that's just as simple as saying like, "Hi, Luis." Hi, first name of that person, and that way you're kind of making it seem like it's a more personal email that's coming from an actual individual versus coming from the company as a whole, right? You want to be direct, so just make sure that your subject lines are on topic. A lot of the times we've seen that some of the subject lines might not really make sense with what's on the copy, and so the email companies, right, have all these filters that they kind of send the emails through, and if it notices that there's some disconnect there, they will just send that straight to the spam folder. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Make sure that obviously the topics align. Super simple, but you'd be surprised, right? And the other thing is that you want to make sure that you make it easy for people to unsubscribe. This is very important, because you don't want them to be receiving your emails if they don't want them to, and it's also just going to mess up your list quality. So make sure to have that at the very bottom of that email, that unsubscribe link, so that they do unsubscribe if they don't want to receive emails. Because if not, also the email biz companies, right, like Gmail, whatever, they also check that too, and if it doesn't have that unsubscribe link, they usually send that to the spam folder by default. Okay, there are other little things too. There are keywords that sometimes when you use in your subject lines, those also get sent to spam. So do a quick search on Google to see what are the spam subject lines, and that way, or what are the spam words for subject lines, and that way you can make sure to avoid those words in your subject as well. Number 3 is going to be segmentation, okay? And so you want your list to be segmented. And this is an extra step, right? If you really want to personalize it and make sure that people are receiving valuable content, I'll give you a good example of segmentation. If I signed up for Invisalign, then I want to be receiving emails for Invisalign. If I signed up for braces, I want to be receiving emails for braces, or offers for braces. If I signed up for just something entirely different, I want to be receiving emails of that specifically. So that's something to keep in mind whenever you are creating your emails and your segmentation, because people want to be receiving relevant content, right? So you might want to break down your list. What did this person sign up for? What did they get treatment for? What have you? And then you can actually make emails that resonate more with that audience, right? And like, you don't have to create like 2 emails every single time you're going to send it out for each audience. Like, if you want to make it simple on yourself, what you can ultimately do is like, hey, this week I'm sending an email about Invisalign. Instead of sending it to the entire list, I'm going to send it only to the list of people that I know inquired about Invisalign. So, that's something else, right? Number 4 is accommodating for technology, okay? So ask yourself the question of, what device are you using to currently check your emails? Well, around 70% of your audience, statistically, opens their emails on their phone. So make sure to take that into consideration when you are designing your emails. Make sure that they look good on a mobile device, because the majority of people will be seeing those emails on their phone, right? So also take into consideration that long subject lines might get cut off, especially on a mobile device. So take that in consideration as well. Also, your loadable media, like if you put in huge images or video on there or whatever, take into consideration that it's going to take a long time, or it might take a long time for those images to load. So if you do want to put an image on there, make sure that it's a low, not a low quality, but it doesn't weigh that much, right? The kilobytes on that image need to be less, okay? The least amount possible. Also, make sure those images are not too big, because sometimes they're really big and they look fine on desktop, but on mobile they're just fully blown out and they take off the entire screen. So that's something to take into consideration. Also, large buttons, all right? Make sure that those large buttons look nice on that mobile device as well. And the other thing to keep in mind is that when you're linking stuff, make sure the links aren't too together, because when people have big thumbs, and when they're tapping on things, if there's a link that's too close to one another, they end up clicking the wrong link, right? And so that's something to keep in mind too on those mobile devices. All right, and last one is number 5, get the timing right, okay? And so remember last week we talked about review, recalibrate, and repeat. Now, that being said, part of getting the timing right is that you have to identify what is the right time. So most of these email softwares give you that kind of data, and part of it is going and seeing, after you send out a bunch of emails, going back the last month and really seeing, okay, when did I get the best open rates? Was it sending it at 6 p.m.? Was it sending it at 7 a.m.? Like, what timing got me the best result, right? So make sure to do some split testing, play around with some different times, so ultimately you can see what got you the best result. And then once you've seen that, recalibrate and then send out the next one, right? So keep in mind that a good email strategy is a refined email strategy, right? So it's something that keeps evolving and keeps changing. So that's why I'm saying, don't get hung up on the details. Get something done, get something that's good enough, get it out there. Start leveraging that power of email marketing in your acquisition campaigns. And then once you feel like you need to recalibrate based off the data, then do so, right? But start with something, right? And so as I mentioned last week, increasing your open rates can help you reach that 97% of your audience that is at that, interested but not necessarily ready to get started yet. So you want to be implementing these tactics as soon as possible. So the question that I have for you today is, are you using email marketing in your business? Drop on the comments below if you are not. If you are not, tell us why not. What are some of the things that you're having difficulty with? We'd love to hear more from you. Let's have a discussion. Now, that being said, make sure to join us on Friday for the Facebook Live with Angela so that you guys can level up your sales ability. And that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you found this content insightful and useful. If you have any questions, comment below. We'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.